Alright, what is going on, guys? This is going to be a little bit awkward for me because I haven't recorded an actual video. And I've always wanted to be somewhat like of a sports talker because I'm just so into it. So I got some notes here. I'm going to go off my phone a little bit too. Um, this is obviously my first video, and I'm going to try to keep updated on this off season and maybe progress more into, instead of just being a Chicago Bears analyst, and going into like the whole NFL, because I'm big in the NFL, and I just have always wanted to talk sports. So if you're a Bears fan or a sports fan, just let me know in the comments what you guys, any ideas that you think. Hopefully, the Bears stop making these stupid moves, and I mean a couple good moves, I suppose. I'm not big on a lot of the other NFL teams as more as I am the Bears. So some of these guys are, I guess, most of them I don't know, but we'll just get straight into it. So we got all of these right here. I'm using 247sports.com for the Bear report, kind of helping me guide through what's going on right now. And I'll tell you guys what the moves we have made as the Bears, and how I feel about them and what we should do, I guess, if that makes any sense. So we'll just start off. All right, so the first move we got here is Christian Jones is returning to the Bears. I don't know if we signed him or drafted him back in 2014, but I know we picked him up, and he was there for a couple years, and now he's returning. I don't know the reasoning for us, because I wasn't huge on the Bears until about 2017 when we actually drafted Trubisky, is when I started getting more into understanding sports. So I don't know how he was, but I guess if that's a good move, then that's a good move. Then we got Elijah Wilkinson. He's an offensive lineman from the Broncos. So I think that's a big signing, because it's only a 1-year deal, and if he doesn't perform the greatest, then we can always not re-sign him next year, because we need to build our offensive line. And if it works out, then I say we sign him to a couple more years. I don't know how old he is or how good he is, because I haven't heard much about him, but Ryan Pace thought it was a good idea to pick him up. All right, and then the third guy we got is Jeremiah Atuche. I don't know how to say his name. 2-year deal. He's also from the Broncos, just like Elijah Wilkinson. He's a linebacker, so I'm kind of curious what that means for Trevathan, Roquan, Mack. I don't know if we're going to get rid of one of them. I mean, I hope not. This is only a 2-year deal. I don't think he signed for a whole lot of money to where it affects our cap space too much, but I know that's why we're getting rid of, a good amount of people. And the next guy we got is defensive back Desmond Trufant. I don't know how to say that as well. He signs a 1-year deal. I think that's an okay pickup. I'm in a sports talk on Facebook, and it's for the NFC North. So I heard he can't stay healthy, but let's hope he can, and he doesn't choke under pressure. Also, off of that, what I don't have in my notes is we released Buster Screen. I'm actually kind of happy we did, because I was hoping we wouldn't re-sign him, because I wasn't a big fan of him myself. I didn't think he was when it was an under pressure game. Obviously he's a defensive back, so he wasn't ever under pressure. But he just missed. I think a lot of our problem on defense is our cornerbacks and safeties not having the communication. I just realized I wasn't looking directly at the camera, and I'm kind of looking at the screen itself more. We got Angelo Blackinson. He was a former defensive lineman from the Cardinals. I don't know. Again, I don't know much about him. 2-year deal, not that bad. I don't think he signed for very long, or signed for very much. And I don't know what that means for our defensive line. I know we got rid of, I think it was Bobby Massey. No, Roy Robertson Harris. I liked having Roy Robertson Harris, but I guess money's money, and if that's what this league is about, then that's what it's about. I mean, it's all business. The next move we have is Patrick Scales returns for a 1-year deal. I think that's a good move on the Bears, because he's just a long snapper, and we haven't really had much issues with him, so why get rid of him? And if he's not begging for money that much, then I don't think we should have got rid of him. All right, and on for bigger news, we got Allen Robinson signs a franchise tag for a 1-year deal. If you didn't keep up with it very much, Robinson was throwing the tag at him. Then I think it was a couple days, maybe a day later, he declined it, and I think he wanted the extension or or more like extended longer and some more money because the man deserves it. I mean, he's arguably top 5 wide receivers in the league, and just look at stats and you'll know. So he ended up just signing it for a 1-year deal. I think there's more to it. I don't know what would be to it, but I think there's more of a reason to why he didn't sign it. And speaking of Allen Robinson needing a quarterback, we got Andy Dalton as our quarterback, supposedly. I don't know if he's going to be starting or what, but according to the Chicago Bears app and what I read and some things on Facebook, he was told he was going to be the starter. So I don't want to bash the idea too much because, I mean, it's only a 1-year deal. Maybe it's time to start building the O-line, and our play strategy is scramble and like mobility, and that's what we had Mitchell Trubisky doing 2017, 2018, and then a little bit into 2019, and then this year I think he ran the ball maybe 5 times that I saw, and I watched pretty much every game I could. And he wasn't his 2017, 2018, 2019 self where he was getting in and he was lowering his shoulder into the defensive players, which, I mean, as a quarterback, then I think you need to lower your shoulder. And I mean, I know it's like you want to protect yourself, but I mean, there were some times where we were a yard short where if he would have lowered his shoulder and maybe not been so scared, we would have possibly have had the first down. And speaking of Mitchell Trubisky did not get re-signed by the Bears on free agency, and he went to the Bills. I think that's good, honestly. Mitch just wasn't our quarterback, and I know he probably won't be the starter over Josh Allen, but I mean, if Josh Allen gets hurt, I hope the best for Mitch, and I want him to prove that he is a system quarterback to the whole NFL. I mean, yes, it sucks we chose Mitch over Patrick Mahomes, but can we stop talking about that, because that was 2017, 2018, and it's way over. Like, there's no reason to be talking about it still. Like, yes, I have full respect for what Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson has done, but in reality, would Patrick Mahomes be as good as he is if he was on the Bears? I don't think so. I think it's more of a system thing because he got built from Andy Reid and the whole coaching staff and brought that from college to the NFL, and obviously has proven himself to be almost Hall of Fame level already. So yeah, I wish the best for Mitch, and I hope he goes out and proves to be a system quarterback, because the Bears clearly could not do that. And then the next thing that was pretty big was Kyle Fuller got released. I mean, I guess it's all about money in this organization, and I don't know if we were releasing him for cap space or if we were releasing him because we didn't think he was good, but I think he was one of the greatest cornerbacks in Bears history. Not like the greatest, but I mean, arguably top 10. I mean, he showed his worth for his few years that he was there, and I guess we couldn't keep paying him for what he wanted, or whatever we couldn't give to him. We couldn't reach an agreement, and we just released him. So that's all the notes that I had. I'll go through this and tell you how I feel. So obviously I already told you we need to pay the man next year when, we can hopefully get a quarterback behind him, and if Andy Dalton decides to show up, then maybe sign him another year and get a draft a quarterback and get him under his tail for a little bit. But I don't think Andy Dalton's proved to the Bengals and the Cowboys that he's a decent quarterback, but I guess we'll see here. I already talked about Mitch. Cordell Patterson, we need to re-sign the man. I think he's on free agency right now. And I've been following him on Twitter. He's tweeted, if a MF team wants you, they will get you. Simple as that. So I think he's kind of showing that he doesn't think the Bears want him, which, I mean, we need to re-sign the man. And then he tweets, stop using the cap space as an excuse. I think talking about Kyle Fuller there, because that was right around that time. And he tweeted, "I'm in no rush," which means he's not really in a hurry. And then being a free agent is fun because he says, ready to see where I'm playing next year. And I mean, he was pretty upset from the Kyle Fuller release, as I think we all pretty much were. All right, on to the next guy. I think we re-signed Pat O'Donnell for another year. I think he's getting kind of older. Yeah, Pat O'Donnell's 30 years old. I mean, I don't know how long kickers or punters rather last, but I mean, a 1 year deal won't hurt anything. I think he's done his job as a punter, and I mean, he's out on the field 24/7 because we can't ever get the first down. The thing we did was sign Deion Bush. I think it was a year. Um, I mean, I guess that's good for our safeties, but I don't know why we didn't, maybe release him and keep Fuller, but I guess it is what it is. Then we got Mingo. I know he's not a starter, but he's been in a good amount of times. I mean, if we just picked up this other linebacker, then we're gonna have to probably get rid of some people. I don't know how long he's in. I think he's in free agency, but we'll see what happens if we decide to re-sign him or not. Sean Gibson, I'm 50-50 on him as well. I didn't really watch him necessarily this much this year, but if we need to re-sign him, then we re-sign him. Cario Santos. For Santos, we re-signed him. I don't know what our deal is going to be for Eddie Pinheiro because Santos got a groin injury, and he was in for, I think, only 2 weeks before getting injured. And, I mean, I think he showed up, but I think Eddie Pinheiro did one hell of a job this season. And that's pretty much it. Okay, so here's some more things. They locked up Eddie Jackson to a 4-year deal, guaranteeing him through the 2024 season. A big thing is Tyreek Cohen. He is going to be returning this year after coming off an ACL injury. Another big thing was Akeem Hicks. He's coming into his final year, as you can see right there. We accepted him to request a trade, which was big because obviously he's on his last year. And all these big players are going to be wanting these rings. Like, I can see in the next couple years if Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy don't show up and the McCaseys don't fire him, that's our owners, then I can see them wanting out. And I don't blame them. I mean, that's what it is in the end, is you want that ring. I'm not going to say this is our year because I truly don't think it is. I think this is just a rebuild year, and hopefully we can come out and maybe go 10-6 this year. That's my hopefulness this year after seeing this offseason, because there were teams making big moves, picking up these free agents, and we were just sitting there deciding, like, let's franchise tag Allen Robinson, let's pick up Russell Wilson. Oh wait, Russell Wilson doesn't want to be traded because we gave them 3 first-round picks, a third-round pick, and 2 big key players, and then boom, we get Andy Dalton. And it's all that anticipation of getting a really good quarterback, and then we get Red Rifle, who's clearly hasn't proven his worth, and now we have Nick Foles and Andy Dalton as their quarterbacks. And that's going to do it for this video. If you guys got any questions, just let me know in the comments below. And if you want to know how I feel about something that happens before I get the podcast out, just let me know. I'll probably link maybe my stuff in the description, my Facebook and stuff, if I get to it sometime. And you guys can DM me and ask me how I feel, or tell me, just give me ideas on some stuff. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you next week, hopefully.